Welcome guys! Today I have a very interesting trap that happened in the game between two of history's greatest grandmasters in 1958. Now with white we have Bobby Fischer, who come on, doesn't need any introduction, first and only United States world champion, the guy who pretty much took upon the entire Soviet Union by himself, just trivial things, and with black we have Sammy Reshevsky. Now this guy isn't to be messed around either. He started playing chess at about 4 years of age, and just 4 years later, at 8, he was already giving simultaneous exhibitions with playing against masters. Like, he gave one that he played against 20 masters, and I believe he won 19 games and drew 1. So, also equally insane. Now, this game goes to show that even guys like that can lose games in like 10 moves. So, let's see how things pan out. So the game started with e4 by Fischer, by far his favorite opening move. We have c5 by Samuel, knight f3, knight c6, both sides just looking to control d4, but Bobby opens the center nonetheless. Now we have an exchange, and here black goes for g6. This structure, where black looks to develop his king side as soon as possible, is known as the Dragon Sicilian. This variation in particular is the accelerated dragon, where black literally doesn't even worry about controlling the center. He will try to worry about it later. So Bobby continues with knight to c3, we have bishop g7, bishop to e3, knight f6, and now bishop to c4, and black just castles. And now this is already a pretty important position to analyze, because here a very typical plan for white is just to play something like f3, g4, h4, queen d2, exchange the bishops, castle queen side, and just throw everything at the black king and hope for the best. However, here black is already sort of setting up a little trap, because here if white immediately plays f3, he has this very annoying queen to b6 move. And why is this annoying? Well, this puts pressure on this very fragile b2 pawn, and also puts pressure on the knight here. So the most natural ways to defend is just to play bishop e3, blocking the queen's attack. But now black can sacrifice the knight, open the bishop's diagonal, and after you retake, simply bishop takes, and black is doing much better here, or at least a little bit better. And he wouldn't have problems then. So Fischer, he had already seen this, so he first in this position plays bishop to b3, and he looks like he's sort of averting the order, but he's actually setting up a way bigger trap, because in this position it looks like a black can simply play knight to a5, and well, where is his bishop going? As you know, in these open positions the bishop pair is very important, so losing it usually, at least in a master level, is quite of a big deal. And Samuel takes the bait, he plays knight to a5, attacking the bishop, and where's this bishop going? Bishop to a4 is kind of awkward. So what is happening here? Well, turns out Fischer had something cooked. If you want, you can pause the video and try to work things out, but as you can see, the engine already gives a substantial advantage for white. So again, pause the video and give it a crack. Okay, so by far the best move for white here is e5. So if you found it, congratulations. If not, let's figure out why. Now this move is very interesting because it attacks the knight, so it limits black's options a lot. So black can either run away with the knight, either to h5, to e8, these are the only other options, or try to take the bishop here, because it also comes with an attack on the rook. So 3 options to consider. Let's first take a look at this exchange. Now this looks good, but upon realizing that white can take here, also attacking the bishop, that after black takes the rook, the knight doesn't really have any escaping squares. You see that after we take the bishop here, the black knight is pretty much dead. He cannot really escape. So yeah, black would have to take this pawn, but now after queen takes knight, you can see that we just have 2 knights for a rook, and these positions are usually very advantageous for white. So yeah, this is also actually pretty much winning for white with correct play. So black doesn't go into this. Instead, he goes into some more challenging variations. Let's first take a look at knight to h5. Now, this alternative isn't also very good, because white can simply play g4, and like this knight here on a1, the knight here doesn't have any squares, like all of the escaping squares are taken. So in this variation, black just loses an entire piece with not really a lot of compensation, so this is also not good. Instead, you might be wondering, okay, but what about knight to e8? I mean, the knight, okay, is not very famous here, but he's also not trapped, so, and then we'll just pick up the bishop, so what is happening here? Well, turns out, like I said, Bobby had something ridiculously evil cooked. And in this position, if you haven't found it already, you can pause the video and try to find it, but if not, I'm gonna spoil it. In this position, Bobby played bishop takes on f7, and come on, this is just ridiculous. But let's take a look at black's options. Either he can take this apparently free bishop with the rook, with the king, or he can run away if he's a coward. Now, if you let's first take a look at the most critical variations. If you take the bishop with the rook, well, really it's always the same idea. Now you can play knight to e6, and the queen is trapped. The knight cannot be taken because, well, if you take the knight, you just lose the queen. And where's the queen going? All these squares are taken by the knight and the bishop. So this is absolutely insane. So in the game, probably if you wanted to avoid this, you'd have to take with the king. But again, knight to e6, knight to e6, and the queen is still trapped, right? And if you try to take the knight, now queen to d5 comes, and it's even worse. You're going to get checkmated. King has to go to f5, but now g4, and the king is just going to be completely exposed. Rook g1 coming for the attack. King has to go to the h file, but now queen e4, and yeah, the king just has to run away, and this is actually checkmate because of the bishop. But I mean, come on, there's no words. Like, this idea here is so strong of 96, and everything works so perfectly well to trap this queen. It's amazing. And obviously, I'm sure you also see it. If king h8, also knight to e6 still traps the queen, and now you have this bishop to worry about. So just horrible. So in the game, after bishop takes on f7, we have rook takes, and after knight to e6, Samuel tried to take the knight, but he just lost the queen. He tried playing a couple more moves, but it didn't really matter. I mean, your knight here is hanging, so this is just horrible. Samuel resigned a couple moves later, and I don't think there's really any importance in covering that moves. This was the Bobby Fischer trap, which funnily enough isn't owned by Bobby Fischer himself. He just said he read it in like a Soviet magazine. So, but it became known as the Bobby Fischer trap because of this game. And yeah, if you're an intermediate or advanced player, hope you can apply it in your games, because realistically it won't happen in a beginner game. Beginners don't play these openings. But yeah, hope you enjoyed, hope you learned something new, and catch you in the next one. Bye.